Hi, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm the Cookin Bookie, inviting you in for some great food and fantasy football. Everybody knows before the game you gotta have three things. Your picks have to be in for your football pools, your lineups have to be set on your fantasy team, and you gotta have something good to eat. That's where I come in. Each week we'll go over some easy to make delicious food, tell you who we think is gonna win the game, and give you some pointers on who to pick in your DFS and fantasy lineups. So let's get started. Before we get started, I want to thank everybody for watching last week's show, and I want to thank Marcela Valladolid for her wonderful recipe. The only difference is I like a little more peppers and a lot more bacon. I also want to apologize to all the Packer, Titan, and Buck fans. You were right, I was wrong. You're smart, I'm dumb. You're good looking, I'm unattractive. You smell great, I'm very malodiferous. Alright, so today we're making Mexican cowboy beans, Charro Beans. Now I know what you're thinking. Beans? Beans? You're showing us how to make beans? Well, you've never had these beans before. These beans are so delicious, they come with a warning. You might miss the game. They're so good, you're gonna eat until you go into a food coma. So, let's take a look at our ingredients. We have our pinto beans, our bay leaf, a yellow onion, 2 whole jalapenos, some garlic, a ham hock, some chorizo, and 4 slices of thick cut bacon. So let's get started with the prep work. First thing we want to do is chop up 3 cloves of garlic. While we're doing this, let's go over 4 games you shouldn't avoid watching, but you should avoid starting any players from. Tampa Bay at Miami, Arizona at Houston, Buffalo at the Chargers, and Cincy at Denver. These are going to be really close games. Someone's going to score, I just couldn't tell you who. So when in doubt, go with the home team. Hey guys, here's a little tip to save you about an hour of cooking time. The night before, get your beans soaking into some water. First you want to get them clean though. Lay them out on a pad and get rid of all your dirty beans. Dirty beans. Get out of here, perfect. You too, and Dominic Sue, and all you guys that have been brawling and fighting and making the game ugly. You get out of here too. Alright, that looks good. Alright, it's time for me to go sleepies. Night night. So, my beans have been soaking all night, and it's time to get everything into a pot and onto the stove. Got our beans. 5 cups of water. Put in our jalapenos, our ham hock, the bay leaf, and our garlic. We want to get these on a high heat and bring them to a boil. You want to make sure they're covered so that it doesn't burn, like the NFL burned the Cowboys when they suspended Zeke for nothing. Now that we got our pot on the stove, it leaves us with plenty of time to talk some football. First game we got is Thursday night. The Titans coming to my Steelers. Now, I think this might be the week that Ben finally has 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, Ben, Brown, Bell, Juju, they're all in play this week. Now, our defense gives up a lot of points, so I think you can also take Mariota and Matthews as well. We got the Detroit Lions going to the Chicago Bears. Chicago didn't look good last week. This is Matthew Stafford's year to shine, so I would take Detroit, take Stafford, take Tate. You should be safe with your teams. Now we've got the Kansas City Chiefs going to the New York Giants. Now the G-Men aren't that good. Their defense is okay. Kansas City's looking to get back on their winning way, so I think they take this one. I think you can take Kelsey and you can take Hill and you should be good. Now, we have Baltimore going to Green Bay. I whiffed on the Packers last week. Now, they might have won the game, but they sure did get graded, losing their 2 running backs and their backup quarterback. And I think they're going to continue to get graded this week when Baltimore's defense comes to town. Take Baltimore. So we got our onions chopped. Let's get to cutting our bacon. You want to cut them really small, not too small. Let's go something like this. While we're cutting our bacon, let's get back to some football. We got Jacksonville at Cleveland. Now, I've beat up on Cleveland enough. don't need to go anymore. They have a death lock on last place and the first pick in the draft. So I think we can go with Jacksonville's defense and Marquise Lee in this one, and Jacksonville, no problem. Let's move on to the next game, which would have been the best game of the week, Philadelphia at Dallas. Had Zeke not got suspended and their defense not gotten beat down, this would have been a high-scoring affair. But I think at this point, you can look for Philly to get up fast, get up big, and then just run out the clock. Our bacon's cut. Our onions are chopped. Let's get it into a pan. We stir it up here. Now we want to get these cooked nice and crisp. Don't want to burn it, just a little bit crisp. Now we have that cooking, let's talk some football. Now, Atlanta's coming off a big win and they're going to Seattle. Seattle just lost Sherman, so that's going to leave them weak on their defense. So you can look for Julio and Mohamed Sanu to have big games here. I think Atlanta's going to take this one going away. After that, we got the Rams going to Minnesota. Both teams are doing wonderful. Minnesota looked incredible last week. The Rams have Gurley and Woods. I think you could take both those players. I would take Minnesota to win because they do have Diggs and Dillian. So this is going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be one of the best games of the week to watch. So I would check this one out for sure. So our bacon and onion mixture is ready to go into the pot. Let's give that a nice stir. That is smelling delicious. And we want to get the lid back on. So I got 6 ounces of chorizo here. Let's go ahead and get that into the pan. Stir that up a little and get it cooking. While we do that, let's go over the Tuck Rule rematch game, New England at Oakland. Now, the referees are busy coming up with an obscure rule to make sure New England wins right now, so I would take New England all the way on this. Brady and Gronk are going to have big games. Carr, Cooper, Crabtree, they'll get in on the action, but it won't be enough to overcome the Patriots and the refs. So, take New England in this one. So I noticed my beans were getting a little bit low on water. You want to make sure that it's soupy, so it's okay to go ahead and add at least 1 more cup of water. While this is cooking, I'd like to take a second to thank Colonel Hiron and all the men and women in uniform. Thank you for your service, and God bless you. As you can see, our chorizo is done. Before we get that in the pot, we want to remove our bay leaf, remove our ham hock, add a little bit of salt, and pour in our chorizo. Let's give that a little bit of a stir. That is looking delicious. We'll get the lid back on it. Let's let it sit for about 5 minutes so all the flavors can marry together. Okay, while the flavors are marrying in our pot, let's go over what I think is going to be the most exciting game of the weekend. Washington at New Orleans. Now, Washington comes in with an underrated offense, and New Orleans is on a 6-game win streak. I think Breeze and Cousins light up the sky. Ingram, Kamara, and Thompson are going to tear up the ground. Take your pick of receivers. This is going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend, but I do think New Orleans takes it at home to get their 7th win. Thanks for joining us. I hope you had a good time, and remember, like, share, and subscribe. So, enjoy the games, good luck with your team, and remember, always eat like a champion. won the games? Charro Beans!